Major highway in Escambia County, Florida is still closed as crews work to clean up debris left behind after an explosion at a paper plant. It happened around 7:30 last night at the International Paper Company in Cantonment. This map here gives you an idea of where the IP plant is located. It's just north of I-10 in northwest Escambia County at Muskogee Road and Highway 29. That's where News 5's Haley Minogue has been following the story for us this morning. She joins us now live. Good morning, Haley.
Devin, good morning. Road crews have been working out on Highway 29, just like you said, to clear everything off, clear that black liquor off the ground. But neighbors that live behind the plant, well, they're left to clean up all of this black sludge by themselves. Take a look at what we saw back here in this neighborhood. Woodbury Drive, that's where we are right now, is coated. Woodbury Court is as well, just with this nasty black goo. Nasty black goo. It's stuck on cars. People are having to hose their cars off, spend their morning hosing them off before they can get out and go to work and get out and take their kids to school and stuff like that. It is toxic if ingested, so if you come into contact with any, don't touch it to your skin. It could really also could cause damage to your respiratory system. Here's a woman that we met at the gas station who told us a little bit about her experience with the sludge.
I know it's crazy, but the first thing I felt was bomb. And that was one. Is there another one coming? You know, what was that? You know, it was scary. It was really scary. And then my neighbor was saying, there's stuff falling and there's stuff everywhere, and it goes right into my neighborhood.
Now, Miss George, she still had a little bit of that sludge on her car. Crews that are working on the road to get it covered, or to get it uncovered with that sludge, hope to have it open by 10, so hopefully in the next hour or so. Now, neighbors that we talked to while we were back here, and Miss George, who we talked to at the gas station, they told us that they haven't yet heard anything from IP, from anyone at IP hasn't reached out to them or anything yet, but it'll be interesting to see if IP does make that move going into the day. Reporting live in Cantonment, I'm Haley Minogue from News 5.
Thank you.
Cleanup continues after an explosion last night at International Paper Company in Cantonment.
There was some good news that no reported injuries so far. Hannah McKenzie is on the scene this morning and brings us the latest.
So this area of Highway 29, just a few blocks away from International Paper, is still shut down. As you can see behind me, Escambia County Sheriff's deputies are directing traffic, telling drivers to turn around and take alternate routes to get wherever they need to be going this morning. Now, although this explosion happened last night around 7:30 p.m., the odor in the air is still strong. It's like a burning chemical smell even. Now, let's talk about this ash and pulp mixture that covered much of the area after the explosion. Here's the latest. A statement from International Paper reads in part, "We experienced a manufacturing process failure that released a mixture of wood fiber, water, and pulping liquor into the surrounding area. Florida Highway Patrol says this black chunky mixture is called black liquor and you shouldn't touch it." We talked to a man who was in the process of cleaning it off of his car. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I'm going to get the rake out, finish washing the cars and the boat, and try to get on the roof and get as much of it off there as I can, and then go from there.
Now, we can't stress enough, do not touch this mixture. Black liquor can cause respiratory and eye damage, and it is toxic if swallowed. Now, if you or your pets do come into contact with this black liquor, they're recommending that you wash your hands with soap and water or soap and vinegar for at least 15 minutes. And same goes with your car. You need to get that off as soon as possible. And as of right now, the cause of the explosion is still under investigation. I received that news just a few minutes ago. Reporting live in Cantonment, Hannah McKenzie, Channel 3 News.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Darwin Singleton. Thank you so much for joining us for Local 15 News at noon. Cleanup efforts are underway this noon after an explosion at the International Paper Mill in Cantonment, Florida, sent a mixture of wood fiber and pulping liquid into the air. That's our big story this noon. It all started after crews responded to the explosion just after 7:30 Sunday. All employees at the plant have been accounted for and no reports of injuries at this time. Meanwhile, emergency crews are warning residents in the area to avoid any contact with this material. Local 15's Katie Herrera is joining us right now live in Cantonment. And Katie, we're getting a new look at just how much of this ash and pulp liquor, they're calling it, has blanketed that area.
That's right, Darwin. Really, now that the sun has come up, we can see that blanket of layer of what they are calling black liquor that has coated this Woodbury neighborhood just behind International Paper. And you can see that it is a nasty, oily substance down in this water. It is not just a thin layer of ash. And really, if you look over on these driveways, you can see just how thick this stuff is, and it has coated the entire neighborhood, these roads, these roofs, mailbox. Good morning. I know they're all out here trying to get cleaned up. If we turn around this way, you can see that one neighbor is even up on his roof, and you can just see the sludge that is pouring down as he is trying to clear off his roof. It's just brown nastiness that really is dripping down off of this roof, and that is what these are having to deal with this morning. So what is this black liquor? It's a waste product from turning wood into pulp. International Paper tells us that they had a, quote, manufacturing process failure that caused the release of the black liquor. It is a skin, eye, and throat irritant. It has a nauseating smell that we have been smelling all morning long and is still out here right now. And it also can cause corrosive burns. So the IP officials said if it gets on you or your pets, to wash the area for 15 minutes with soap and water. And if it is on your car, to go ahead and wash it off immediately, avoiding contact with your skin. This morning, just like we see out here right now, we found residents who were doing just that. Claire Brown said the water and vinegar mixture that folks have been recommending seemed to really rinse it right off her car. She says the whole ordeal was terrifying last night, but she's just grateful that no one was hurt.
Now we just keep our fingers crossed that it doesn't happen again, and they can correct whatever went wrong, because that could have been very bad for all of us. So we just keep our fingers crossed and we keep praying for safety. We've been living here for 20 years. We're not going anywhere.
Now, as for the roads, crews have spent all morning long sanding Highway 29, trying to clean the black liquor off the roadway. It caused a headache last night, causing cars to slip and slide off the highway, and it has taken much longer than anticipated to clean it off. They're still working on it out there. Right now, they're doing some pH testing. The water is being tested in this area to see the environmental effects that will be caused. And for those living in these neighborhoods nearby the International Paper Mill, International Paper says they are working with the response crews to get folks out here and try to get this cleaned up. But the neighborhood, the residents are really frustrated. They're concerned for their health safety, and they're concerned that they're going to need help getting all of this nasty cleaned up out of their yards and off of their houses. Reporting live in Cantonment, I'm Katie Herrera, Local 15 News.
That is quite a dramatic demonstration.
Plus a big mess in Cantonment after an explosion at the International Paper Mill. We'll have reaction from neighbors who say they felt the blast. And President Trump begins his first week in office.
And some breaking news at this hour. Fox News Investigates has learned the Gulf Quest National Maritime Museum of the Gulf of Mexico will reopen next month.
News investigating with Mike Sam. Now, Sam down on it only been open since in situation that he was today Gulf all the course of 20 years of planning for answering the news going now tornado over the week.
Mississippi, amazing.
Hattiesburg now.
This one here, people. A lot of stories. It's about foundation. Going through everything. Home happened.
After that deadly tornado that hit southern Georgia, and Dardays
here to help us, people get family members.
State
Baldwin counties, but South Alabama winds and building damage. People there. This video from Phillips. News. Just head to our website, bb.com.
Some roads in Cantonment remain closed tonight after an explosion last night. It happened at the International Paper Mill near Highway 29 at Muskogee Road.
Crews are still in the area, continuing to clean up the mess. Our Fox News reporter Asha Staples spoke with some people in the area today, and they described the scary incident.
This morning, police and road officials worked to contain and clean a big mess on US 29 and Muskogee Road in Cantonment.
It could have been like a sticky ash or something that was on the roads. That's why some are blocked.
An explosion at International Paper caused the mess. While crews were cleaning, International Paper officials released a statement warning people of the, quote, mixture of wood fiber, water, and pulping liquor in the surrounding area. Claudine Cutler lives right down the street from the paper mill and says the explosion happened around 7:30 yesterday evening.
It was a very loud boom, and I know some of my family said that their houses shook.
Cutler says she's lived in this home for over 30 years, and last night was the first time she's ever heard a noise like that.
It made me jump. I just walked in my kitchen.
Just down the street from Cutler's at Cantonment General Store, Thomas Bills says the same thing. He says the loud boom was followed by a lot of commotion.
We started seeing all the fire trucks, the ambulances, the police officers blocking off all the roads and stuff.
Luckily, no deaths or injuries were reported, but for those living and working nearby, they say it's a scary gamble.
And all the chemicals that they got, the explosion that could happen, yeah, it puts fear in some people, especially when they're really close.
In Cantonment, Asha Staples, Fox 10 News.
The cause of the blast is still unknown.
A Fox 10 News investigation has uncovered documents of past investigations and alleged violations at that International Paper plant in Cantonment. For more, we turn things over to Fox 10 News reporter Lee Peck. Lee, what have you found?
Well, Bob, there's a lot of information available online about the history of the mill and terms of investigations with the Occupational Safety and Health Administration and the Environmental Protection Agency, both of which monitor this facility. Now, government records show in 2010, an employee claimed he was exposed to lead and hexavalent chromium, which is known to cause cancer. OSHA handled that investigation. According to the EPA, in 2008, it fined International Paper more than $10,000 for failure to report a large release of sulfuric acid. By far the largest fine we found records for was back in 2001 when the facility was fined by the EPA for more than $137,000 for violations of the Clean Water Act. Now, in response to last night's explosion, the company released a statement late this afternoon saying the plant is not operational while the investigation is underway. IP saying its primary focus is on ensuring the health and safety of employees, contractors, and neighbors, and on the cleanup of the affected areas. In the newsroom, Lee Peck, Fox 10 News.
All right, thank you, Lisa. What is this black liquor that's been talked about there? Well, a National Trade Association for the paper industry says it's a thick, dark liquid that's the byproduct of the process that turns wood into pulp. It's often used at paper plants to generate electricity. EPA says it is not a hazardous waste.
Now on WKRT News 5.
An explosion at a local plant over the weekend.
I started gagging in the house after being outside for about 20 minutes waiting on the school bus.
People living nearby are cleaning up the slimy mess left behind.
Plus
tonight. First on 5, International Paper Mill in Cantonment, Florida is out of business, at least for now, after an explosion last night rocked the plant and coated the surrounding area with a grimy soot. News 5 has obtained this aerial footage of the plant this afternoon. This is a view from the north side of the plant, the Muskogee Road side. The plant is currently not operating. We're told from corporate offices in Memphis that there is significant structural damage inside the plant.
Crews on the south side of the plant today were cleaning up some of the debris, and that's where we find News 5's Debbie Williams with the latest on the explosion and the damage.
Pete, about 24 hours after this explosion, they are still trying to clean this goo up off of U.S. Highway 29. That's a major north-south artery here near Cantonment, Florida. Now, you can look down there and you can see what's going on. There's just a conundrum of trucks down there trying to get this roadway back open. Cleanup of the road includes using sand and what appears to be large vacuum trucks to suck up what's called black liquor, a gooey mixture of wood fiber, water, and pulping liquor. According to International Paper, the explosion caused by a manufacturing process failure, damaging the plant's largest pulp digester and its powerhouse. We're told the explosion could be felt well into Pensacola. Well, Tom Reed lives just across the street from the plant on Muskogee Road, and he certainly felt it.
And all of a sudden I heard this like sonic boom. And of course I hit the floor because I lived in California and had earthquakes. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was the house behind me blew up.
looking at the plant today from those aerial images, it doesn't look like anything really happened. There are cars in the parking lot. It looks like a normal day, with the one exception that one main smokestack that we always see the stuff coming out of, well, there was nothing coming out of that stack today. Live in Cantonment, Debbie Williams, News 5.
Right now, people who live near the International Paper Mill in Cantonment, Florida, are sludge, also known as black liquor, from their cars and roofs. This comes after an explosion last night at the International Paper Mill. It's our big story right now at 5 o'clock. Local 15's Muriel Bailey is live from one of those neighborhoods this evening. Muriel, some people have been cleaning all day.
They have, Kim, all day since this morning. We got here a little afternoon and people were out spraying and cleaning off their roofs. You can see one lady out here right now. She's still washing off her driveway. And right now, International Paper, they're actually out here, crews from that mill, walking the neighborhood, handing out this piece of paper to residents. And it's pretty much the same information that they sent out to us, the media, just letting people know what happened, what went wrong, that is still under investigation, and what number they can actually call to get more information if they have questions. But to get a look at what people are seeing, you can look up here at this sign. This is a neighborhood. We're in Woodbury. You can see what people are actually dealing with. It's that black sludge. It almost looks like bugs, but it's not. It's actually a little sticky film, and that's what they're dealing with here in this neighborhood.
Once I put that soap on there, it rinsed right off.
Claire Brown spent most of her morning cleaning off sludge from her car.
I just took some water, soap, and vinegar and washed over the car.
Brown and several people in her neighborhood in Woodsbury woke up to their homes, cars, and mailboxes full of black sludge.
And there was just like somebody had took black specks and put it all over the car.
A spokesperson with International Paper says Sunday night the plant experienced a manufacturing process failure that released a mixture of wood fiber, water, and pulping liquor into the surrounding area. The material is also referred to as black liquor. It can cause eye and respiratory issues, irritate skin, and cause burns. People are advised to wash areas and pets that may have come in contact with it with soap and
in the kitchen, and I heard just a huge explosion, and from the foundation up, it just felt like everything was moving.
Randall Osbar says the explosion came out of nowhere. He says not only are people battling the sludge everywhere, the smell is also a lot to stomach.
My neighbor come over, and he had a washcloth over his mouth.
Roads near the mill are blocked off while crews work to clean the sludge from the streets. People who live in the affected area say they're hoping this is the last time they have to deal with something like this.
We just keep our fingers crossed that it doesn't happen again, and they can correct whatever went wrong, because that could have been very bad for all of us.
And as you can see, again, people are out here cleaning off their roofs, cleaning off their cars, their driveways, just trying to get rid of this stuff and get it from their walkways. Now, coming up at 6 o'clock, you'll get to hear from a spokesperson with International Paper. I actually spoke with a woman who was out here and find out if they will be helping these people clean up their neighborhood. Reporting live in Cantonment, Muriel Bailey, Local 15 News.
Now on Channel 3 News.
Big sound, and then next thing you know, all the lights went out. Everything, the plant just went completely dark.
The explosion in Cantonment. We've got the latest on the paper mill blast.
The mill explosion's effects on the community, what residents are being told about the cleanup efforts.
And a bizarre murder. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. Well, right now, a cleanup and investigation are both underway less than 24 hours after that explosion at the International Paper Company in Cantonment.
All employees made it out safely, but the incident sent large amounts of ash-like debris into surrounding neighborhoods. Tonight, we have team coverage, starting with Anthony Pura, who is at the plant with what we know so far.
Bob, Sioux officials say the plant had significant structural damage. It is not in operation right now. As far as the cause of the investigation, or as far as the cause of the explosion, that's under investigation. They haven't released any new details, and that's fueling at least some frustration and concerns for some people living nearby. People living near the paper mill noticed the large plumes of smoke and steam were missing today. Less than 24 hours after an explosion, there were no visible signs of damage from the outside.
Our property adjoins their property.
Wayne Dawson remembers the blast vividly.
Big sound, and then next thing you know, all the lights went out. Everything, the plant just went completely dark.
A chaotic scene would quickly follow as emergency crews and vehicles surrounded the plant. Residents would soon report an substance covering their cars and neighborhoods. Dawson can't help but recall the noises he's often heard coming from the plant for the past few weeks. Loud noises, which some residents have described as a fire-breathing dragon. Channel 3 took this video 3 weeks ago when many started reporting the noise. Plant officials explained it as the boilers venting steam.
It's been more frequent, that's why. I mean, whenever you start hearing it within an hour, several times in an hour, why are they building up steam that quickly that they've got to release that quick?
Paper mill officials haven't disclosed any details of their investigation into what caused the explosion. But we spoke with Scott Moorhead, who worked in the paper mill industry for nearly 20 years, and says incidents like this are an isolated incident.
They're very infrequent. The safety procedures in plants these days are very good, pretty much across the industry.
Some of that debris did blow over onto Highway 29 during the explosion. FHP working to clean that up right now. You can see Highway 29 is still closed right now. The earliest they expect it to reopen is around 7 o'clock tonight. Reporting live from Cantonment, Anthony Purra, Channel 3 News.
As Cantonment continues to clean up that mess that was left by last night's explosion, International Paper has released a statement telling people not to touch that so-called black liquor that covers the roofs, cars, the roads, and the trees. And it's called black liquor by the Florida Highway Patrol, them releasing that statement earlier today. Christopher Saul is at the cleanup site. And Christopher, what kind of progress is being made?
Sue, not a lot of progress is being made right now. You might notice behind me that this road actually looks like it's been freshly paved. It hasn't. Now, if you get up really close to it, you can see those shavings that are that black liquor that the Florida Highway Patrol says was expelled from the plant yesterday evening. Now, you can see a lot of people have begun the cleanup process on their own. They're not really waiting for anybody else to help them with it. You can see some people with garden hoses are just trying to spray off their front porches, their driveways, their roofs. A couple people are here to help from outside of the community, and they hope that they can make a difference.
I've tried contacting corporate offices to get a response for them. I haven't been able to get any response back. And a couple of the other gentlemen that I've spoken with here in the area that are residents in the Woodbury Circle have not heard anything in any form from corporate on how long this is going to take.
We've also tried to get in contact with International Paper, and so far we haven't received anything from them. Live in Cantonment, Christopher Saul, Channel 3 News.
We will have continuing coverage of the story at 6 and 10. We'll also have updates online and on Facebook and Twitter.
Too-bad chart.
Some roads in Cantonment remain closed tonight after an explosion last night. It happened at the International Paper Mill near Highway 29 at Muskogee Road.
Crews are still in the area, continuing to clean up the mess. Our Fox News reporter Asha Staples spoke with some people in the area today, and they described the scary incident.
This morning, police and road officials worked to contain and clean a big mess on US 29 and Muskogee Road in Cantonment.
It could have been like a sticky ash or something that was on the roads. That's why some are blocked.
An explosion at International Paper caused the mess. While crews were cleaning, International Paper officials released a statement warning people of the, quote, mixture of wood fiber, water, and pulping liquor in the surrounding area. Claudine Cutler lives right down the street from the paper mill and says the explosion happened around 7:30 yesterday evening.
It was a very loud boom, and I know some of my family said that their houses shook.
Cutler says she's lived in this home for over 30 years, and last night was the first time she's ever heard a noise like that.
It made me jump. I just walked in my kitchen.
Just down the street from Cutler's at Cantonment General Store, Thomas Bills says the same thing. He says the loud boom was followed by a lot of commotion.
We started seeing all the fire trucks, the ambulances, the police officers, blocking off all the roads and stuff.
Luckily, no deaths or injuries were reported, but for those living and working nearby, they say it's a scary gamble.
And all the chemicals that they got, the explosion that could happen, yeah, it puts fear in some people, especially when they're really close.
In Cantonment, Asha Staples, Fox 10 News.
The cause of the blast is still unknown.
A Fox 10 News investigation has uncovered documents of past investigations and alleged violations at that International Paper plant in Cantonment. For more, we turn things over to Fox 10 News reporter Lee Peck. Lee, what have you found?
Well, Bob, there's a lot of information available online about the history of the mill and terms of investigations with the Occupational Safety and Health Administration and the Environmental Protection Agency, both of which monitor this facility. Now, government records show in 2010, an employee claimed he was exposed to lead and hexavalent chromium, which is known to cause cancer. OSHA handled that investigation. According to the EPA, in 2008, it fined International Paper more than $10,000 for failure to report a large release of sulfuric acid. By far the largest fine we found records for was back in 2001 when the facility was fined by the EPA for more than $137,000 for violations of the Clean Water Act. Now, in response to last night's explosion, the company released a statement late this afternoon saying the plant is not operational while the investigation is underway. IP saying its primary focus is on ensuring the health and safety of employees, contractors, and neighbors, and on the cleanup of the affected areas. In the newsroom, Lee Peck, Fox 10 News.
All right, thank you, Lisa. What is this black liquor that's been talked about there? Well, a national trade association for the paper industry says it's a thick, dark liquid that's the byproduct of the process that turns wood into pulp. It's often used at paper plants to generate electricity. EPA says it is not a hazardous waste.
They're cleaning up today in a neighborhood near Pensacola. An explosion Sunday night at an International Paper plant sent ash and pulp material raining down. There was no fire, no injuries, and no fatalities, but some roads were closed. A substance called black liquor coated some of the roadways.
Police. Thank you, Allison. Now, a News 5 update. We now know what caused an explosion at a paper plant in northwest Florida. The explosion occurred last night at the International Paper plant in Cantonment. A substance called black liquor spewed into the air after the explosion, making today a busy day for folks trying to clean up the mess. News 5's Debbie Williams joins us live now near the plant with more on exactly what happened. Debbie?
Mel, you know, when we first got here this morning, the smell and that black liquor that you were talking about was just awful. And the good news is that that smell has dissipated. The irritations that it caused has gone by the wayside. But this has been a day of goo, of traffic headaches, and a lot of questions. Aerial footage of the International Paper plant gives few clues of what happened last night.
I just got in and was laying on the couch reading the paper, and all of a sudden I heard this like sonic boom. And of course I hit the floor.
A massive explosion that did extensive damage to the largest pulp digester as well as the powerhouse on the plant is being blamed on a manufacturing process failure. The blast sent what's called black liquor raining from the sky, coating everything in sight.
Awful. It's thick, it's black, and gooey and smelly.
No one was injured by the explosion, but health warnings were issued over concerns of what the stuff could do to people and pets.
Very caustic. It's alkaline base, they said.
Information about the cleanup and what's going on inside the plant has been very limited, but spokesperson Krista Allen from the International Paper's corporate office in Memphis says, "We have engaged contractors to develop and implement plans to clean up and dispose of the discharged material as quickly as possible." Those contractors have been on the job all day trying to remove the mixture of wood fiber, water, and pulping liquor from U.S. Highway 29. Traffic has been detoured around the plant all day, and no word yet on when it will reopen. Now, they say that there hasn't been an incident like this at the plant in decades, something like 32 years. But we have learned that there have been several violations, EPA violations by the plant in just the last 3 years, and that they haven't been inspected by the EPA in almost a year. Live from Cantonment, Debbie Williams, News 5.
Thank you, Debbie. With no one from IP talking today about the incident, we went to a local engineer to learn more about the paper-making process and that black liquor that ended up in the neighborhood. Scott Moorhead spent more than 2 decades in the paper industry and at one time was a mill manager. He explained that wood chips are heated with a chemical agent called white liquor and streamed into a giant pressure cooker known as a digester. The idea is to separate the fiber in the wood that will become paper from the bonding agent that holds it together. The byproduct is black liquor, which ended up in the neighborhood after the digester likely breached.
Black liquor is what you have left over after the chips have cooked, so you've spent most of the cooking chemical and you've extracted a lot of organics out of the wood, and that's basically what's in the black liquor.
Moorhead says black liquor is not dangerous in small quantities and should wash off with water, or certainly with soap and water.
This is Gambia 911. What is the location of your emergency?
I can't tell you what it is, but there was a huge explosion somewhere.
We believe it's going to be at International Paper. We have crews en route there now, but we're trying to get a hold of somebody to get some kind of confirmation.
That was just one of the many 911 calls Escambia County Dispatch received last night after the explosion at the International Paper Mill in Cantonment. Cleanup continues tonight. After that blast, many residents reported a horrible chemical-like smell in the area.
That explosion happened at about 7:30 and shut down roads around the plant while crews cleaned up a black tar-like substance that included U.S. Highway 29. That was closed from Muskogee Road to Tate Road, Muskogee and Jack Branch Roads. County Road 95A from Muskogee to Woodbury Place also shut down.
Those roads remain closed at this hour while the homeowners and the company continue cleaning up that debris. The Highway Patrol says it's called black liquor, a caustic waste product that is created in the paper-making process.
We have team coverage of the explosion right now. Christopher Saul will have more on the cleanup effort in Cantonment. Allie Norton covering traffic conditions in the area.
But first, we're joined by Anthony Purr, who has the most recent developments from the plant. Anthony?
Bob, Sue, the plant is not in operation today. Officials tell us it suffered significant damage after the explosion last night. Although we were there today and we did not see any of the damage, at least from the outside along the perimeters. Crews are focused on cleanup and proper disposal of some of the waste material. The explosion blew a mix of wood fiber, water, and pulping material to the surrounding homes and neighborhoods. They're urging residents to clean up their property and pets if any got on them. They're urging them to use soap and water. One of the biggest issues is Highway 29. Crews spent all last night and today cleaning up the debris off the roads. They told us, though, that the cleanup didn't require any special precautions.
Really astounded. I really am, because I didn't think we'd be here for weeks. I figured there'd be stuff on the course, and it was going to take a good bit of cleanup.
Inside, Susan Barbary, the course manager, and the Lynx watchdog, Velvet, relaxed on the couch.
And this was just a freak accident.
They were both in the area when the explosion rocked the town.
It's just a big boom, and it shook the whole place. The glass flew open, the doors and the coolers flew open. Everybody was kind of in shock.
Scared for Velvet, Susan tried to get back to the Lynx.
In front of the plant, and it was just a set. That's all you seen. I mean, the whole plant was blacked out.
She arrived this morning to a happy, healthy dog.
And I just brought her inside. I didn't want her to be outside today. Yeah. So she has a really hard life, can't you tell? Yeah. So that's about it.
A small mercy in a trying time. Bob and Sue, we're still waiting to hear back from International Paper to see what or even if they're going to help with the cleanup effort that's going on here on the east side of Cantonment. For now, live in the city, Christopher Saul, Channel 3 News.
Highway 29 is still closed near the paper mill. Troops, the Florida Highway Patrol had hoped that the road would be open within the next couple of hours, but Allie Norton is there along Highway 29 at Woodbury Circle with the traffic update.
And Sue, I just got off the phone with Florida Highway Patrol, and I wish I had better news. They were initially hoping to open Highway 29 by 7 o'clock, but that is not looking to be the case. Their plan right now is to finish up the northbound lanes and have that open by 10 o'clock, then open the northbound lanes and start working on the southbound lanes. They are not expecting to open that up, though, until early tomorrow morning, hopefully before that morning commute. Crews have been working on cleaning up the black liquor on the road. Florida Highway Patrol says that they don't know what kind of reaction is going to happen when moisture comes into contact, so troopers caution drivers that the roads may be slippery. People living near the road closures say that their neighborhood has been inundated with cars looking for a detour.
We had 18-wheelers in and out. It was just like Highway 29 traffic almost, but not quite as bad. But they're going in the neighborhood and turning around, and it's really hard to turn around because there's a lot of houses and the roads are so narrow.
So if you are heading up this way, be sure to look for the signs marking the detour. It looks like the message is getting out because there hasn't been too many cars turning around right here at Woodbury Circle, but you should note that this portion of Highway 29 from Woodbury Circle to Muskogee Road is going to be closed until 10 o'clock, possibly until tomorrow morning. Of course, any updates that come about, we will be sure to have here and online and on social media. Reporting in Cantonment, I'm Allie Norton, Channel 3 News.
Allie, thank you. And of course, we'll have continuing coverage of the International Paper Mill explosion tonight at 10, both online on WEARTV.com. And if we get any news that warrants a break-in, we'll let you know about that as well.
Well, people are seeing the effects of an explosion at the International Paper Mill in Cantonment today. People who live nearby are cleaning off black sludge from their cars and homes. Local 15's Muriel Bailey joins us in a neighborhood. Muriel, people have been cleaning up there all day.
They have, Kim, and actually they got some guests here today. International Paper crews actually just left this neighborhood in Woodbury subdivision. They left this neighborhood about 15 minutes ago, and they were going door to door, speaking with people, answering any of their concerns and handing out paper to them. But even though it's dark out here, people are still out here cleaning off and hosing off their areas and hosing off their driveways. And this right here, take a look at it. This is what this stuff is looking like. This is a good example. You can see it here on this fire hydrant. Now, a spokesperson with International Paper says Sunday night the plant experienced a manufacturing process failure that released a mixture of wood fiber, water, and pulping liquor into the surrounding area. The material is also referred to as black liquor. It can cause eye and respiratory issues, irritate skin, and cause burns. People are advised to wash areas and pets that may come in contact with this with soap and water. Roads near the mill are still blocked off while crews work to clean the sludge from the streets over there. A spokesperson with the mill says they want to let people know they will help with cleanup.
And we're just out here talking to neighbors, trying to assure them that we are here, we are neighbors of theirs, and that we will clean up and help assist them with the cleanup in their neighborhoods. We have a number that we're handing out on a flyer that they can call, 850-968-4203, for more information and to talk to us if they have anything or any concerns.
International Paper says it's also working on starting up a health line where people can call in if they have any health questions or concerns that they can answer for them. Of course, we will pass that number on to you once we get it as well. Reporting live in Cantonment, Muriel Bailey, Local 15 News.
Muriel, thank you. All day long we have been showing you the thick ash that has fallen on cars and homes of residents in the Cantonment area. Paper mill exports are calling this product black liquor. But what exactly is black liquor? It's a mixture of wood fiber, water, and pulping. Escambia County officials have been reminding residents to try and avoid contact with the material. We talked to one expert on if there are any effects from coming in contact with the substance.
Black liquor is not as potent. Typically, it's not something you would suit up for unless you were expecting to get it all over you. White liquor, green liquor, which are some of the cooking liquors, earlier liquors, are worse, and you would dress out more for that. Typically, you're going to wear gloves, you're going to wear a face shield, you're going to wear safety glasses, things like that if you're dealing with black liquor.
And if you do come in contact with the materials, be sure to wash with soap and water.